to Clamp, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things about creating, living, and making projects. I'm your host, Grant Alexander, and joining me as always is Jesse Ratfink. And this week, Adam couldn't make it, so we have a special guest. You might know him from his work he's done for local charities or for his terrible towel collection. He likes to turn tiny trees and send them all over the world. Please welcome Emmett from Deadrise Woodcraft.
Hello. That was a lot of T's there.
I know. I like alliteration. I have an affection for it. Yeah. So, Emmett, why don't you take a second to tell our listeners who don't know who you are a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Emmett. I'm from Deadrise Woodcrafts on Instagram and YouTube. That's pretty much the only two places you're going to find me. I turn tiny treescapes as one of my main things I turn. But I turn things I can make into gifts, and that's usually what I do is I give stuff away. I don't sell much of anything. I live right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm from Virginia originally, but I moved to Pittsburgh about 22 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Met my wife, and that's where I've been. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Well, you do a lot of turning, and that seems to be your real big thing. But you've also, before that, you started this thing that I really loved, and you included me in it for some unknown reason with all these other amazing people. I had the Maker Collab was something that you did, and every month you did a Maker swap.
Yes. I did that the whole year of 2020. So I started back into turning in 2019. So I wanted to push myself on YouTube and kind of grow my community and just meet new people. So, and people that had supported me early on in the 2019, 2020, I decided to do this Maker Swap 2020. So I contacted first 12 makers, but then I had more than 12. So then I ended up doing bonus swaps. So I ended up doing about 4 to 5 videos a month for YouTube, including projects to mail to swap. But it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. It actually was a nice distraction from the crap year that 2020 was. But
yeah. And I made you a key rack.
Yep, it's still in use in my garage. I keep tools, little teeny tools on it, but yes, it's there.
And you made me a Land Shark bottle opener, which if anyone watches my videos really closely, I often use it as like the thing to hold down the leather if I roll out the leather.
Yeah, it was massive. It came out a lot bigger than. I was super happy with the way that came out, though. But
it looks awesome. But it is, as a bottle opener, it's a little bit big.
It's a little bit obnoxious.
Yeah,
the wood burning. That was one of the first wood burning projects I had ever done. So
yeah, but. Yeah, it turned out great. That's who Emmett is. And one of the things about Emmett is that he likes to live, and if you're watching the video, you might have been able to recognize this already. He likes to live in a very minimalistic world. Behind him, he's actually in his kill room, the place that he does all the killing. And but
that's over there.
Oh, yeah, it's a little off camera, but that's why it's so clean. Is that this is a room he only uses for that purpose. But no, in reality, he just likes to live in a place that has minimal stuff, which, most makers, I feel, are the complete opposite. They seem to have a ton of stuff and a ton of everything everywhere. If you look behind me, that's what you can see. If you look in a lot of people's places, every wall has 700 things on it, including tools and wood and everything like that. But if you watch Emmett, he does all of his stuff in a very small area in his garage, and he keeps it all minimalist. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about that with him. But before we get into that, up front in the thing, I want to talk about the current charity work that Emmett's doing for Orphans of the Storm. If you're interested in his treescapes or trees from, I don't know how many makers, why don't you take it away, Emmett, and 30, explain what you're doing?
So I did the chess set in 2021. Yeah.
Or 20, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't do anything last year. Yeah, 2021. So I did the chess set where I collaborated with 31 other makers. I made the chessboard and a piece, and then everybody made a piece. We put it together. We auctioned it off for a homeless shelter in Pittsburgh not a homeless shelter, a shelter for LGBTQ youth that were homeless. We made a decent amount of money. It was like just over $3,000 for that chess set, and it went over real well. I didn't do anything in 2022 because it was a lot of work. Grant was part of that as well, And so my wife thought, why don't you do a treescape like you do, but have people send you trees? So I reached out to everyone a few months ago, and I think I have 32 makers, so 31 including myself. It ended up being exactly the same amount of makers
That's
as
crazy.
the chess set, but it was more. I got more trees than I got pieces because some people sent me doubles. So, and it's going to go to a animal shelter here locally that we got our cat from. It's called Orphans of the Storm, and that's about it. I'm gonna give it away on July 31st. If you would like to get into the raffle, you can go to my link on my bio on Instagram. It's got a link there for their GoFundMe. All the money's going directly to them. I'm not going to touch any physical money. So
Right. So you
there's
buy
lots of other prizes that you can win as well. A lot of people donated some other stuff. So
right. So you just go on there, you donate to the GoFundMe, take a screenshot or send the receipt or whatever to you
Yes.
to prove that you've donated, and then everyone who donates gets a ticket into the giveaway that you're running. I like to use the word giveaway.
Yeah. It's you can't use the R word because it's technically not. Well, it is legal because they are a nonprofit and technically you're giving the money to them.
Right.
So
But
they're running the raffle and I'm just organizing it.
it's not even a raffle because there's like no money.
No, yeah, it's no money's changing hands to me. It's going directly
Right.
to them.
So you give them. Let's not get into the legalities of all that bullshit, as I don't care, and our listeners don't either. But you're going to get you know, depending on how much money you give, you get a different amount. I think it's like $5 is one
$5
ticket.
per ticket. Yeah, I just made it easy. It was easy to do. One ticket, $5. Done.
Perfect. So every $5 you donate, you get entered. There's going to be a round of the general prizes.
Correct.
And then everyone's name that, even if you won a general prize, gets put back into the grand prize of the treescape.
Correct.
So even if your name gets pulled for one of the fun, exciting prizes, you'll get put back in for the treescape. This is awesome. Everyone should go over to Deadrise Woodcrafts. We're going to have the link in the show notes, where you just go on Instagram to Deadrise Woodcrafts and find his link in the bio there, and you can donate.
And I know with the millions of listeners you guys get, I should have no problem just running up donations.
What is your number at right now?
Right now, I'm at. I just got one a little while ago, just under $1,800.
Wow, that's amazing.
I was at 1765, and then I just got another $25. So
wow,
so 1790. Is that if my math correct?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, my goal was to make this equal of what I made for the chess set. And the chess set had a donor, a anonymous donor that donated. They matched up to $1,000, which we hit. So we had just over 3,000. So, but I counted as donations. I had just over 2. So I'd like to make $2,050. Will take me over.
Well, I'm sure by the time this comes out, you're going to no problem getting that. So when this comes out, it's going to be July 17th. So you'll have basically 2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
To go and get your tickets. And now let's move on. Now we've talked about that. That's all great. Lovely. We're going to mention it again at the end. But we want to talk about the minimalistic lifestyle and how you could try and tell people why it's such a good way to live. And maybe I'll say why it sucks.
We live in I like to say it's not quite minimal. It's like a semi-minimal. I have the tendencies of being I've changed over the years. My wife is definitely the organization, likes things clean, likes things minimal, and I've kind of gone that direction. We would definitely go with a tiny or small house if we could, but I don't want to start another mortgage. But yeah, I like it because it's. I mean, you know where things are. Everything has its place. Everything's organized in our house. My wife knows if you've touched something and put it back in the wrong place, no matter what it is. It could be a pin in a drawer. But yeah, it keeps things very organized and very clean and straight. So it's one of the reasons we don't want kids. We like things organized and clean.
Oh my God, the same over here. Yeah, I am very much like your wife in that, everything has a place and I know where that place is. Tyler might not have any fucking idea, but I can always tell him where to look for something, I've just always had small apartments before we got this house, and I've never wanted to move a lot of stuff from place to place, so I've always been pretty good about it, except with books. I completely failed with books for a long time, but yeah, I try to make sure that we don't have clutter and that we only have things that we use, because I don't want to spend a lot of time cleaning or just like using mental energy thinking about clutter. I don't know. I'm real extreme about everything being clean all the time.
So I just redid my garage. So I took everything out of my garage and I put it in a portable storage unit in the yard. And I painted the walls and I painted the ceiling and I re-epoxied the floor. And a small part of me was very close to just stop making and sell everything I had, because I really liked the garage completely empty. Like I was like, this is beautiful. Like just a car in it and nothing else. It all went back in.
All of it?
I did get rid of some things. But it wasn't much. It wasn't much, but yeah, it went back in. Now I did a big clean a couple years ago. It was my wife's birthday, and I was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she was like, "I want you to clean and organize your area, but I need to be part of it because I want to see what you throw away and make sure that you actually get rid of things." And I got rid of probably 5 big trash bags full of either scrap wood or tools I didn't use or just shit that I didn't need. So it does feel good to purge. I don't know if you get that.
Oh yeah.
When you say you got rid of tools you didn't use,
like, now, what? I don't know how they have in Canada. Like when you go to Harbor Freight and you buy something and then they give you like a chintzy flashlight or a set of screwdrivers, and then you end up with like 17 sets of screwdrivers. I don't one set and threw them all away.
So when they do that, I now just say no, thank you. But I can understand where you can get into that having a bunch of garbage.
Right. Like sockets. Like I went through all my sockets and just kept one of each socket. Like I don't need 5 15-millimeter sockets.
That makes sense. But at what point is something I don't use it and I will never use it? Because my problem is I go, the old Jimmy-ism, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, because I absolutely hate, because I work in the off hours, right? My working is always, once everything is closed, that's when I'm working. Right. And so I can't just run to the store and buy it. I can't just run to the store and rent it. And I feel it's like, or if you lived in the country, you can't just run, it's an hour to the closest store. Well, you're not going to be, you're going to want to have one of everything and maybe a spare of everything.
Right. And with tools, it's more hard if I don't have another one of getting rid of it.
Right.
Like things, I want to say excess stuff, hardware, let's call it that. Like, so if I'm putting something with plumbing and I buy a 5-foot piece of PVC pipe and I use 3 foot of it, I will throw the rest away. If I need it again, I will just go buy another 5-foot piece.
I've gotten better at that, but I have my number is I still have a number, like 2 feet's enough to keep. But
especially turning the trees, that's the problem with turning little stuff. Right. All little stock is like, I can get a tree out of that, but every time I turn, I can get 2 trees out of a pen blank, and I usually have a piece about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long. I have just started letting those go. Now, my father-in-law likes to make chaos pen blanks, so I just put them in a box and I just take them to his house, and here you go. But if he doesn't want them, they go in the garbage.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing then is the key to being minimalistic is finding someone else who's a hoarder.
Yes. Well, and our rule in our house when it comes to not everything, but like if you're going to just pack it up and put it in a closet, like say, I don't know, books, because I don't read, but like books. If you've read the book and you're just going to pack it away, get rid of it.
Yep.
If you wear the same 4 T-shirts, then why do you need 7? Just get rid of the ones you don't wear. So if you don't use it in 6 months, we just get rid of it.
So I have a separate set of T-shirts that I don't wear because I just need to lose a little bit of weight and then I'll wear them again. Where does that lie on your thing?
See, that's the problem because I'm on a diet right now, and I've lost 35 pounds, and I went and bought all new pants. So my wife's like, "We can get rid of all your old pants, like shorts for the summer." I'm like, "I just bought those last summer." So like, it's very hard for me to be like, "Well, let's just get rid of them." And she's like, "But that's motivation to keep the weight off."
See,
not how it
that
works.
is dangerous thinking because, like, especially someone like me, like, I have a lot of health issues, like, around my stomach, and my weight fluctuates, like, all over the place. So I always have two sizes of pants. So I always have, like, size 6 and size 8 because I'm almost always in between those. And I'm never going to get rid of any of those because as soon as I do, I will go the opposite direction in size and have to buy things again. Like, I always think it's a good idea to keep two sizes of clothing around because you never know
Right.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, right now the old size is being held onto just in case. But I don't plan on going back to that. I'm going to give it till next summer, and then I'll get rid of them.
I think that's fair.
So, I could see looking at them and going, if there's any that are on the like edge of, they're not very nice. Like they're not your nice ones. I would throw out any of your not nice ones,
Right.
and just keep the like these are like I wore them twice. It doesn't make any sense for me to get rid of these. But like the ones that you're like, well, those ones were going to be turned into painting
Rags
pants.
anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, that's what I do that too. Painting pants. I always have like my wife's like, you need one pair of painting pants, not three. You're not gonna. And I'm like, true. That is very true.
Yeah,
But,
until you spill paint on the one pair, and now they're all wet, and now you have to find another pair of pants to turn into painting pants.
No, you're just done painting. You get to take the rest of the day off.
Oh, if only it worked that way.
I know.
But the problem is, I do have really nice pants that are the bigger size. But the problem, I've lost so much weight. When I put them on, it's like these look like shit. I can't wear these. I'm all cinched up, and the belt's like long.
You can get them taken in.
God, I'd rather just buy new pants. That seems like a lot of work.
Well, it's not your work. You take it to a tailor. So I don't know. It all depends on how much those pants were. But if you have like a really nice suit, like I have a Jaguar suit, and I got it like tailored to me.
No, that would be that would be hard to get rid of.
And then I go like, if I lost a bunch of weight, I would have to get it retailored. Even like when I got it, they tailored, like they took in the pants and they changed the jacket a little bit and they hemmed up the sleeves. I don't know. They do a lot of things. I was just like, make me look good. And then I looked really great. And then you change 10 pounds and you look like shit again.
I don't own a suit. I don't do anything that needs a suit.
Yeah. I just sometimes like to wear a suit, and it's a Jaguar suit. So like if I go to a car thing where like,
please wear that
dress nice. I could show everyone the tag, and I go like this. Look at the Jaguar suit. I'm cool.
Please wear that to Maker Camp. It would be great if you roll in the first day for Maker Camp with a Jaguar suit on.
Yeah, I want to go to Maker Camp. I don't know if I will. So I have a problem with when you guys talk about like minimalistic. I have this problem with like time, and I'm very minimalistic with spending my time because there's a lot of things that are like, it's really hard for me to even drive like 30 minutes to do something. I'll put it off for a long time because I want to like conserve my time. I don't do anything with it, but I'm very minimalistic in that way that I'm not going to spend a bunch of extra time doing something. What do you guys?
Yeah, I'm sort of like that. It's not that I don't want to spend the time. It's like I like the downtime because I drive about 40 minutes one way to work every day. So when it comes to driving, it's like, I drive an hour and a half every day. Mm-hmm. I like being home when I'm home, but that's more why I put things off. And I'm not a big. I do drive a lot, but I am not a big fan of having to drive. If I can get somebody to drive for me, I definitely will. Like when you offered to go to High Caliber Camp, I was like, maybe he's offering to drive. That would be sweet. But then when I had to explain to you that Pittsburgh is like 7 hours out of your way.
Yeah, I would have totally picked you up.
I know you would have, but I was like, do you know where Pittsburgh is? You need to relook at Pennsylvania because I'm not near where you're going.
Right. Well, on the way back, the other time we drove through like Altoona.
Right. Yeah. And that's about 2 hours for me.
Right. So that could have been a place where we could have not.
Yeah,
I was driving with Morley up to Toronto. Which
and I was like, why did you guys
sense.
not call me and have dinner or lunch? I definitely would have come out. But
because I don't know.
Yeah,
good question. We didn't know we didn't know we were going to stay there. We didn't know where we were going to stay. We didn't know what was happening. It was a really stressful situation. Okay.
Yeah, you were pretty stressed.
Yeah, I was very stressed.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was like peak COVID and all the regulations, and I couldn't get a test back in time to get back. Anyways, if you want to listen to that, there's a whole episode about it, basically. But okay, let's get back on topic about minimalism. What's one of the things you do when you're like cleaning out? What goes through your mind what kind of things do you think about when you're deciding, do I keep this or do I get rid of it?
Have I used it in the last 6 months? And then
Interesting,
do I
6.
really need it? And basically, what would it cost to replace this if I do need it?
Ah, that's a good one. What would it cost? So it's like, do I save this $2 plumbing piece
Right.
for the rest of my life?
It's $2. Throw it away.
Right. Now, do
Or
I
donate
save
to
this?
Goodwill. We take a lot of stuff to Goodwill. Like when I said I throw away stuff, it usually goes to Goodwill.
Okay. Now, if you are looking at, like, if you have a project that you want to do one day and you got excited and bought all the materials and in 1 year you hadn't done the project, what are you going to do with it?
It's probably gone. Yeah.
Oh,
Done.
wow.
Yeah, I've done
Jesse,
that too.
what about you?
So, and I know Jesse does a lot of embroidery stuff, but so a couple years ago, I have the problem if like, I don't know about all makers, but people like myself who probably have a skosh ADD, if I'm not doing something, I will just fall asleep. So in the wintertime, because I live in Pittsburgh, the sun goes down at 4:30 in the afternoon, probably like where you are, and sitting on the couch and watching TV, I will definitely go to sleep. So what I started doing, I learned from my grandmother, cross stitch.
Yeah.
So I found a website where you could upload a picture and they would make a pattern for you. So I would do about, 400 to 1,000 squares a night or stitches a night while I was watching TV, and it kept me awake. And I worked on one that was probably, 20 inches long and about 8 inches wide. And I got about 300 squares away. And I only did it through the winter. So I would do it, and then when the winter was done, I'd put it away till next year. And I'd put it away one winter, and then the next winter, I was like 300 squares away from being done, and I never touched it again. And then like 6 months later, I just threw it in the garbage.
Oh, wow. You're more strict than I am.
I was just like, I'll never finish this.
I don't know.
Go on.
I'm a little
it took
more
me like a year.
sentimental. Well, and I think for me, like, another thing that I factor in is the size of the item, and if there is a place for it, and if I can store it in some way where it's not just like looking at me all the time and making me think about it. Like, so a lot of, like the art supplies and the craft supplies that I have, I hold on to them even if I'm not using them, just because I know I will at some point, and they're all like stored nicely and I don't have to look at it all the time. But I don't know. I'm definitely more sentimental. And like, if there is something that I have worked on and almost gotten to the end, I normally will hang on to it. Like, I have a set of armor that I was working on because I wanted to be a Khajiit for Halloween, a Khajiit from Skyrim. If no one knows what that is, it's basically a cat race of people. They're my favorite. But yeah, I worked on this set of armor. I've got the full chest plate, back plate, gauntlets, bracers. I forgot the name of the shoulder things. Like, I had all of it, and it's just been on my mannequin for like years at this point. I can't get rid of it because I did spend probably a whole week just constructing it, but I never painted it. I never did the fastenings. Like, I just keep hoping one day I'll get back to it.
So what I'm hearing a little bit is that if you could not see it, it doesn't bother you. For Jesse, Emmett, is that the same?
Yes, and for the most part, yeah. And my wife is okay with it if she can't see it, but it's tucked nicely in some sort of container. My wife's a container person.
Okay, now the next question is: are you pro shelf or pro like cupboard cabinet?
I like a shelf.
You like a shelf,
but I do like a cabinet where you can shut a door.
Yes, yeah.
And our house makes it very easy because there is no attic in this house. We have lots of closet spaces. Like the room I'm in has 2 big closets. Our bedroom has 3 big closets.
Wow.
So one's a coat closet, one's our attic. It's just the smallest closet is our attic. And then we have a holiday closet, and then this is the craft, right to my right. But
right.
Craft and camping closet.
So we have, like, I got shit everywhere. It's everywhere. But, and it's not, I want to put way more storage, door closing storage stuff. There's a lot, too many open shelves. I hate open shelves.
Now when you said shelves, I like a shelf in a closet. Like, I don't like shelves in the open.
But Oh, see, I do like shelves in the open too, but it's only for certain things. Like I have one shelf here in my office that I've got plants on top of, like a printer, and then a lot of really nice books like arranged nicely and stuff in baskets that are like it's all very sort of like bright and happy and clean looking still. Or like the shelves that we have in our living room, it's the same sort of thing where I've arranged our media and our plants and everything in like a way that looks clean. But we do have shelves in every closet in this house. I have just thrown shelves in there because I love it so much.
So I know, Emmett, in your maker area, you have shelves, and they have like a collection of stuff.
Yeah, that's basically most things that I got either during the 2020 swap or that I've swapped with people or people have given me. So it's like my friends have given me stuff.
And so that's why I put shelves in my room, because I have similar, like I have it now, but now I've got so much stuff on these stupid shelves that it's all like into one little corner piled on top of each other.
Yeah, I did have to think really hard, and I didn't throw anything away, but it's like I reorganized it a little bit. And some of the things that I had made that have really no sentimental value kind of went away during the repainting. And then some people during 2020 sent me like pictures. Like a lot of people made me like my logo, like burnt on a wood or cut out on a scroll saw. I put that above my garage door now, so unfortunately you can't see it if I'm filming a video or anything like that. But it's there. It's still in the garage. It's just out of the way. I made those shelves a little bit more friendly.
Right.
But that's another thing my wife and I take into consideration of anything we buy, furniture, something for the wall. We don't have much wall hanging, so usually it's stuff that I've made myself, but it's all what needs dusted. Like, how much dusting are we going to have to do to this thing?
I don't do that.
like dining room chairs. We'll be like, these are really pretty, but that's a lot of dusting. Or like a bed frame. It's not.
I just don't dust.
Oh no, we do that about twice a month.
Yeah, we do it all the time. I mean, we've got 2 dogs and a cat, and so it's like hair plus dust. So yeah, I dust all the time, and it's something we considered. Like our baseboards are just straight edges because I did not want to have to get down there and wipe it clean. I just, I'm always thinking about that. Like, how easy is this to maintain?
It's a lot easier to maintain if you just don't do it. So anyways.
I can't live like that, Grant.
You can if you do. It's real easy. Just stop worrying. No, I get what you're saying. I understand. But I don't know. When I'm thinking about all this minimalism and I'm thinking about like, how to try and get rid of stuff. So I have like every different type of making I've ever done. I have it all. I have, until just in the 2020 to 2022 period, I had sweaters and t-shirts from when I was in high school. I'm almost 40. I still wore them. That's the crazy part. I still wore them every once in a while, but every time I put them on, I'd be like, this isn't quite in fashion anymore, right? But I'd be like, maybe it'll come back. And some of the stuff has come back, so that's great. But it's like all that stuff that I look at and I just go like, am I going to wear this again? And I always go, I might. So how do you convince yourself to stop saying, I might? Am I going to do this again? I might.
Have to say, I'm not.
Well, so for me, it's more so I get a bit of a rush, like a hit of endorphins when I do clean stuff up. Like I am so pleased and inspired by clean spaces that was it for me. Once I realized I much preferred living like this as opposed to when I used to live in an apartment with just books piled everywhere all over it, it just keeps me doing it. I don't know. I've always been the sort of person who cleans when I'm stressed, which I think also helps because I'm stressed a lot. And so I clean a lot and it just all works together.
And you could also say to yourself, like, couldn't somebody else use this? I'm not using it. Like books. You've read the book. Are you going to read it again? Right. Someone else might want to read it.
I read all my books at least twice. If I finish a book and I know I'm never going to read it again, it immediately goes in the donation pile. If I keep a book, I'm reading it again, and I almost always do.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good if you just don't read books, because I don't read.
Right. It's just like dusting. It makes it real easy.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about keeping books.
Yeah, I you know what? There's certain things that I have no problem giving away, But okay, there's like a value. Is there a value number where you go, I should maybe try and sell this? So when I was in high school, I bought a lot of plastic models, and I was into making plastic models, and I've done a lot of them. And even in like as recent as 2019, I made a couple more models, right? And that was fun. But I have a lot of them, and some of them worth like over $100.
Yes,
and they're probably worth way more than that now. Like that's what I paid in 2000. What do I do with that? Do I sell it? Do I give it away? Do I donate it? Do I wait? Maybe my kids are going to like it. Like that. The kids' problem is actually the biggest problem I have.
That makes sense. But that is, not something I've had to consider. Yeah, well, and so for me, right now, I think it would have to be quite a bit of money to convince me to go through the hassle of selling it. But when I was younger, I would actually do a lot of the thing where I would buy like rare video games that came into work and then sell them on eBay for a profit. Do stuff like that because it's just that $75, that $100 was so much money back then. Or a lot of my X-Men collectibles before I made the move to Colorado or to California, we got rid of a lot of my X-Men stuff. And that was stuff that I also put on eBay just because it's worth a little more. And I know that it would actually mean something to someone. But yeah, most things I do not go through the whole process of selling them. I've always been that person that just puts stuff out on the curb with a free sign and puts a post up on Craigslist and then just watches it disappear.
Yeah, I do. That is one of my vices. Now I'd only give it a little time, but I will if I think it's worth money and a decent amount of money. When I say decent amount, worth my time to put it on eBay and go to the grocery store or the post office.
What's that number?
Anything over, I would say $25. If I think I can be 25, 30 to $100 on it, I'll throw it on eBay. If it doesn't sell, then it goes to the donation. I won't hold on to it, but I'll let it sit for 3 months. And we have an eBay closet. That's just my shit that's on eBay. But yeah, if it stays on eBay too long, it's gone. No one wants it. So, which is weird because sometimes you'll have stuff that sits on eBay forever. And then all of a sudden it just sells and you're like, wow, I've actually like marked the price up and sold it. And I'm like, or like a bidding war will happen. It'll sit on there like with a buy it now price for $15. And then, 6 months later, two people start bidding on it. It goes to like $70. And I'm like, you idiot. 6 months ago, you could have bought it for $15. But
yeah, that's the weird part about eBay. But fuck those people. I hate them because
I forgot you don't like eBay. But,
yeah. Anyway,
like Facebook Marketplace, but my Facebook got hacked and I don't have that anymore. So
oh no,
fuck them all. Okay, so then you used to have the biggest known terrible towel collection. And to me, that doesn't scream minimalistic behavior. And I know I have a lot of collections. I have stamps, I have coins, I have stuff I don't even like. I have a rock collection. I have like a Hot Wheels collection. I got a lot of different collections just sitting there doing nothing right now, like comic books. I got tons of different collections, and I just keep looking at them going, what should I do with them? When you talked about X-Men stuff, I'm like, I have from like the 2000s, the entire Marvel sets of collectible cards.
Mm-hmm. I never got into the cards, thankfully.
Right. Well, they were fun for me, so whatever. I enjoyed them at the time, but now I look over them and I'm like, okay, I've looked at this once in 10 years.
Right.
But I can't get rid of it. But how did you get rid of your terrible towel collection?
I haven't. I still have a majority of it. So we have a finished basement, and most people here in the Pittsburgh area, when you have a finished basement, you have a Pittsburgh room. So it's Pittsburgh theme. It's black and it's gold and it's painted. And it had lots of memorabilia and things I had collected along with the towels. My wife called it sensory overload when she went down there. So we pared back a lot on it. And then recently we had a friend that needed some furniture. So I donated a couch and a chair and a table and chairs and everything that was down there, except for the only thing that's down there now is my terrible towel collection, the stuff on the walls, and a TV stand without a TV on it. But I have started selling some of the terrible towels as well. And I would love to sell all of them because I don't go down there anymore. It's something that I lost interest in. I was very, very passionate about it for probably 10 or 12 years, but it's kind of gone. and
Right. So
and I
this
can
is the
get rid of
thing I'm
them.
trying to understand is a lot of people, and I was talking about this on the weekend on the race team, is there are a lot of race cars, really good race cars, sitting in people's garages, not being used because somebody lost interest in it.
Yes.
And they're just sitting there, right? And you see these people go through like these barn finds, and there's just people who just lost interest in something but could not bring themselves to get rid of it. What are you doing to bring yourselves to get rid of the terrible towels? Like, what are you doing? How are you doing it?
I just, I lost interest in it, and I finally was real with myself and was like, I've lost interest in this. Why keep them? So I did start. I mean, at one time, at the most I had was probably about 370. I've
Oh my
probably sold
God.
50 or 60 of them, but they're slow selling because there's not many of people that collect them. And of course, back in the day when I started collecting, or when I was at the height of collecting, of course, that's when everybody was paying top dollar for the older ones, and now they're not. So, but I would let them go cheaper. So,
Did you try and sell them as a lot at any point?
I did try to sell as a lot to some of the people I knew. Like, I still have a lot of friends that collect. But I sold off a bunch to one guy. I just went through and was like, "Hey, tell me what you want, and make me an offer."
Right.
And I was like, "You sure you don't want all of them?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't want all of it."
Because he knows better.
Yeah. And the problem is a lot of my autograph towels, which could be a lot of money as an autograph, but they personalize it to me. So it's like yes, the autograph might be worth $250, but it's autographed to me. How much should I charge for that? It's
Yeah.
So I might try to do
You
something.
just got to find another Emmett.
Yeah, exactly. They collect
Who's
terrible
in?
towels.
So if you're an Emmett who's listening to this and you collect terrible towels because you're,
If it's
I don't know, problematic in
weird.
the head, you can contact Emmett on Deadrise Woodcrafts and he'll sell you a terrible towel. But so Jesse, you got any advice to people on how to let go of their former passions to create a minimalistic world for themselves?
Well, so I think first of all, I don't think it's necessary that you get rid of stuff. But if you have a desire to do so, I think kind of like what Emmett said, just be real with yourself. Yes, this brought you joy at one point. Yes, it made you feel great at one point. Does it still do that? Or are you just like pining for the emotions you had back then when you were really excited about this thing? Like, you really have to be realistic about it, because had I not done that, I probably would have moved to California with 40 boxes of books. And that's fucking ridiculous. and and also I think that helps, having some sort of life event where you have to sort of weigh the importance of these material possessions that you've just been like lugging around for so long. That really helps, because I've had a lot of those over the years, and it just sort of puts into perspective like what you really need to function and what you really want around you. You just sort of stop caring so much about collecting things, because it just, I don't know, at some point collecting things just became stressful to me, because I was always thinking about the next move or dusting it, or, just having enough room to display everything. It gets so overwhelming for me mentally. And I'm sure a lot of people aren't that way, but it definitely helps me pare down on things.
I bet a lot of people have a lot of mental energy spent on that could be spent better elsewhere and aren't. And that's fine.
Yes.
Like you choose where you want to spend your mental energy, but if you are running out of it, like I have this my mother said, "Would you like the dishes?" And I said no, and then she gave them to me anyways. And it's like, gold, like real gold rimmed dishes. The china, the expensive china you only ever brought out when there was like guests coming over. And nobody has that anymore. Nobody uses it anymore. It's not a thing like it used to be. But I have it in a china cabinet in my dining room because my mother gave it to me, and it was her mother's, and it's just like this thing that I just go like, I don't have a desire for it, but I can't get rid of it until my mother dies, basically.
well, that's difficult. But yeah, I was going to say it's not even just mental energy. I think it's just straight up guilt for a lot of people,
Well,
you know,
that's
like,
mental energy, right? Like that's one of
well,
the
but it's
different
a
ways of
very
putting it.
specific, like nagging
Yeah.
kind, because in a lot of cases, I think mental energy, like you open that closet and you see a bunch of stuff that you think you should take care of, but when it's sentimental, it's a family heirloom or something. There's just this. I feel like there's almost a nagging. Why don't you have that out? Why don't you use that thing? That's so important to everyone in the family. It gets really overwhelming. And it's like the only things that I have kept from family members are either very small or functional. Like I have I have a glass bowl from my grandmother. I have some of her baking pans. I have a griddle from her. Like it has to be functional and something that I can use and think of that person.
Right.
I don't just want stuff hanging around that I will never use and feel guilty about.
So when my grandfather passed away, my dad said, what do you, like, we're clearing out the house. It's going to be like a lot of stuff's getting donated here. Nobody needs anything, right? Is there anything you want? And he had in his basement a bar. And I remember as a kid, we'd always go down there and just like play hide and seek and like whatever. But in the basement, he had on a like long spring, he had this turned sphere bottle opener. So it was like the place you held on to was a turned sphere and had a little face on it. And it was on this really long spring. And we used to play with this and it would just go bling, 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 bling. And I was like, that's the only thing I want from his house, right? Like that was it. I was like, I don't want anything else. I just want this this little bottle opener. And he's like, okay. And I ended up getting like a table saw and other stuff. But I was like, out of the stuff in the house, I was like, yeah, I'll take any tools he had because I didn't have like a big tool collection at the time. Mm-hmm. But I was like, out of the stuff in the house, the thing I wanted was that because and it's not even a great bottle opener, but I have it set up in a display cabinet with a bunch of other like the wine glasses and stuff. And that's the thing. That's the little small thing that every time I look at it, it reminds me. So I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the dishes do not remind me of anything.
And the good thing about like what you were saying, one of the things that I will say to myself is, I have the memory. Do I need the thing to keep that memory? I don't need the thing for the memory, but I do get the bottle opener though, because there was some things when my mom passed. My dad was like, take whatever you guys want. And I was basically the same thing. Like, I don't want anything. There's nothing, my wife's grandmother died and the same thing. It was like, you can have all this stuff. And we're like, it doesn't go in our house. What are we going to do with it? It was very minimal things that my wife wanted. And it was little things like that from her grandmother. But yeah, it has to be minimal. It has to be used. Like,
yeah. All right. But you know what isn't minimal?
Your Patreons.
Patrons.
Yeah, they're amazing people, and they give us a lot of support, especially the F-Clamp level. Vincent Ferrari from Digitally Creative, Scott from Dad It Yourself DIY, Joe Herdina, Rich from Lowen Designs, and David Wood from DW Wood Builds. All those people and everyone else who supports us there, we appreciate it every week. Because of you guys, we're able to do this show. It's not free. It costs us money. It costs us money for Zencastr, the place that we record it. It costs us money for Buzzsprout, the place that we host the podcast. It costs us money just, to send out all the fun stuff that we send out. Like we got sticker packs and keychains if you sign up. If you sign up to patreon.com/clamp, you get the keychain, you get the pre-show and after show, and you also get access to a once a month Discord hangout with the Clamp crew. So if you head over to patreon.com/clamp, you can sign up for that. And now, CLAMPmendations.
CLAMPmendations!
All right. Emmett, do you want to go first?
Wait, I should have sang that so I could have been part of that.
Well, so we actually only play it so that Adam knows where to edit because he doesn't actually listen to the show. And you would know that if you listened.
I do listen to the show, but
you can tell that. No, he didn't.
Well, I know. I know it's played over. Anyway, sorry.
No, he didn't play it in the last two.
Yeah, the last two. And
I'm very far behind on listening to podcasts.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm just trying to be funny. Go ahead. If you're first.
I'm really bad at this because sorry, my cat's making appearance.
Yay!
So I'm going to go with a thing that I bought from my garage recently. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it. I used the box of rags, and I bought a box of rags holder, dispenser, whatever you want to call it, on Amazon. I think I paid $25, $27. Sorry, I have a cat tail in my face. But it really, I used to keep those on my bench, so that was a pretty, again, because my area is very small. I don't know what a box of rags is, probably 12 inches by 12 inches, so that's a square foot that I opened up on my bench. But yeah, that thing is awesome. I'm excited about it. I can't.
When you posted that picture with those that rag box, and it's a pull down, I went, "That's how it's supposed to work." Every time I've had those boxes,
Oh yeah,
these
I
are the
pulled
worst. Yeah, you pull up on it, and it like takes the box with it, and it like goes everywhere. And I'm like, "This is the worst."
Shit all over your hands, and you're trying to hold the box and rip the thing off.
That makes so much more sense.
I found and I got the idea from, I don't know if you've ever paid attention, but when we have our Zoom call with Keith, he has his on a shelf it's like a wire mesh shelf, and he's got it pulled between the wire mesh. And I'm like, that's a genius idea. And I'm like, I wonder if they make these things. So I went on Amazon and I typed, box of rags dispenser, and sure enough, they pop up. And I'm like,
well, there you go.
And I was like, $24 sold. So
yeah,
I had to make room on my pegboard. So unfortunately, some things had to get moved or thrown away. But
well, that is the minimalist life.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesse,
that's mine.
Nice.
So for me, another horror movie this week. So I watched Superhost the last weekend, and it's pretty much two of my nightmares combined. Annoying YouTube people that do shows where they are kind of scripted, but they're talking to each other. And then people who just can't take the hint and leave you alone. It's basically about a YouTube couple who vlogs about like Airbnbs, and they sort of travel and talk about how it is, and they end up staying at one where the host is entirely unhinged and nothing is really right about her, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. It was very fun, and it's not super gory, so yeah, I would recommend it if you like cringe and being a little uncomfortable.
Cool. Well, I'm going to do a minimalist move here, not do a recommendation. There we go. We're going to move on over to Ask Us, the Jesse's portion of the podcast where it's an Ask Us Anything.
And we didn't do this one already. We did favorite last week, but you included your least favorite, so you're going to have to say it again. I'm pretty sure is what happened.
Yes.
So question this week is from DW Woodbuilds, and it is, what is your least favorite type of clamp? And Grant, if you would like to rant about yours.
Well, I'll just say I think I said spring clamp. Spring clamp is the least favorite for me because I feel like it just doesn't have enough clamping pressure.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah. And the few times, like a leather work, I've used it, and it has left clamp marks. And like, it doesn't have any clamping pressure, and yet it still left clamp marks. You guys suck.
Yeah, they can be bad. You definitely have to work around them, but I still maintain it's my favorite type of clamp. So let's see. For me, I'm going to say like a GRC clamp. Not a big fan of those. They're always the clamp I go to last in my shop. Like, I have two different sizes of them. They're on the side of my tool cart, but they barely ever come out unless we like really, really need extra clamps or something. They just seem like they take forever sometimes.
I feel like I only ever see metalworkers using C clamps. I
That's
wonder if
fair
there's
enough.
a reason for that.
Because they're metal.
Okay, thanks. Emmett, what is your least favorite type of clamp?
I don't use many clamps in what I do. I would have to say my least favorite, and this is not really a clamp thing, but a hose clamp, because when you trim it off, it's always so sharp, and there's like no way. Yep. You always end up cutting the shit out of yourself. There's no way to, and the part that's sharp is always out. It's like you can't hide it. I would have to say that, but I don't use many clamps, so.
Well, a hose clamp is a clamp. It has the name right in it.
Those wooden non-mar clamps the screw clamps are pain, because then you have to remember, like, you got to go out on this one and in on this one.
Twin
screw clamps. I use that. I don't know what they're called. They're wooden non-mar.
Twin Twin Screw.
Yeah.
Yes,
Called Twin
perfect.
Screw.
Yeah.
I do have
I
one
can
of
see
those.
it, but I don't know.
Like the very nice old one that I bought on eBay and cut up for the clamp challenge.
Yes. That's perfect. Well, thank you for that, and thank you, DW Woodbuilds. If you have a question you want us to answer, contact Jesse or the Clamp Instagram. Yeah. So I want to thank TF Turning for the theme song. I want to thank Emmett for coming in. If you listened to the pre-show, you wouldn't have heard him because he had no internet. And for the whole pre-show, we thought we were going to have to do a Jesse and Grant episode by ourselves. But luckily, his internet came back. So, Emmett.
You're welcome to your listeners.
Yeah, thank you. Because it was not, we didn't know what we were going to talk about.
It was bad. And of course, right as we started to get ready to start recording, a thunderstorm went through and cut my internet out. Yeah. Like literally, what was it, a minute before we started.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and where they can find the charity information again?
Sure. It's so I'm, like I said before, it's just Deadrise Woodcrafts on Instagram or YouTube. I've gotten away from YouTube a little bit in the recent months here, but Instagram is my main area. Link in my Instagram bio has a link tree. The very first one is the Treescape giveaway info. So it has all the rules. It has a list of the other prizes that you can win, and it has a link to their GoFundMe. It does have a link to their website, which you can also donate directly to them. I was donating to the building fund. I've had a couple donations go straight to them. Still have tickets. I put their tickets in the drawing, but the GoFundMe is easy because then I can look at who gave it the GoFundMe and I can see if I've missed anybody. Cool. Yeah, that's where you can find the info of how to get me what you've donated and the rules and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for one, doing that, and two, coming on the show. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to head on over into the after show. So we'll see you all there.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.